You're a wonderful crowd to stay this late in the day, and I'm sure some others will join us during the course of this talk, which had to be rescheduled from first thing this morning because of airlines. It's my great pleasure to introduce Mario Cucinella, who's won a WAFX award for a health project, which he's going to present, where scheme design is almost finished. Its construction will start, I believe, at the end of next year. So the new hospital of Cremona, Mario Cucinella.
Hi, thank you. Well, just introducing, Cremona is a small city south of Milan and is very well known because they made a violin Stradivari, if somebody remember. That's the city of violins. And also it's the city of music. If you go walking around the city, you can really enjoy music and lyrics. And, sorry. So this is preliminary sketch of a hospital. We are it's a little bit outside of historical center, really in the edge between rural and urban. You know, this is a small city, and as a lot of small cities around Italy, the rural area is very close to the city. The hospital is really a link between the rural area and the city center. And based in three basic simple principles, healing architectural, all user-oriented design and wayfinding, accessibility and flexibility. What I want to say is a three scale of this project. One is an urban scale, then is a building scale, and then is a small part of the building, which is the cell, is the room, how we design a room for patients. So this scheme just give you the idea the hospital is a circle, but is open in the middle for ecological corridor, so connecting the nature from the north to the river. And the building is just green, is a roof, is the green as the park in the middle. I thought to inspiring by the hospital in the last century. You remember hospitals was made by pavilions. And a lot of hospital was with a park because the healthy part of the hospital was walking in the park, which is good air and quality. Then we changed structures and make these kind of big buildings, with no relation with outside. So this is the same ideas. The building is embrace a park in the middle, which is a public. And I like the idea that people go to the park hospital for walking, just get a nice time and walking around the hospital. So it's a primary destination, not only for people for curing, but also for citizens, as was before. So it's not only specialized for curing, but it's part of the life or everyday life in the city. So this is a different scheme, and I think there's very important is the division between one wings is all dedicated for hospital, and the other part is the service for hospital. I think the ideas was not only take care about people go for curing, because this is 500 bed, but they are working 2,500 people. So I think you need to take care also for people working every day in the hospital, because there are people spending 10 hours, 15 hours in hospital. So in one side there are services like a little residential for families, is a creche or kindergarten, is a library, is a space for education, and the other side is from outside is the main access and division the access from people go for day hospital and emergency. And then is always a very large part underground, which is all the operational and technical technical services. So that is the scheme of a park. So it's really a very large park. As you know, in the last few years, there's a lot of flooding in many, many cities. Well, recently Valencia, but also Milan, many cities, Bologna. So the park is a little pond in the middle, which is an area where can be collecting waters to protecting hospitals. But the main idea is the hospital is around the new park. It's an empty area. I say it's in the edge between rural and urban area. That says the scheme of the park and access from parking outside. Some parking is underground, but it's all the edge of this square is all residential buildings. So we need to mitigate the idea that the hospital is also an opportunity for the neighborhood. No? So that is the major scheme, like the environmental strategies, the direction of the wind, the orientation of the rooms in relation to daylighting. You will see later a detail of the room, and I think what you see from the room is very important, and the way the room is made make the management of the hospital completely different, you know. And also because we're very close to the river, so there's an area of possible flooding protecting the hospital. So we always work in a very basic, simple principle, no? So why we don't take up about the orientation of the building, what the room, how much sun the room have, or how many daylighting going inside the hospitals. Now there's something changed also for the operation room, because sometimes the surgeries are working for 8-10 hours in the darkness, so in artificial light. So now we are developing more idea that operation room have daylighting. So because you have a concentration light, but also need an environment much more friendly, you know? And that's the impact of the building on the landscape. You see the city is coming close, but all around is still cereal production and other kind of agricultures. No? So I'll go very quickly in this, but the scheme is these two different access from public and from the hospital people. Then is a sort of a internal street which is more public with the public services, like a little supermarket, bars, a flower shop, and you can really walk in a public city space. And also the patio, the green patio, which is across the building and bring daylighting also from the top of the building to the ground floor. And I think this connection is not only visual, but also vertical. No? So I'm not going to go in detail about these floors, but just to know the first color you can see is divided in emergency area, because you remember the COVID, it was one of the lessons for hospitals. So the emergency area and area for protecting people with virus need to be separating. And this in vertical line is all the intensive care. Then the ground floor is a day hospital, so it's only people visiting during the day. And then you go up, you can find more and more access for the rooms and the services. And underground is all the operation room and all nuclear medicine, all this diagnostic and things. So despite the shape of the building, which looks like strange to make an hospital circle like this, but the program, this is a public hospital. It's from the government and the local government, but the program was very detailed. So I think they do a very good work, and design a building with a good program is a little bit easy, you know. But hospital first, they need to be work. So they need to be easy to work, and management of hospital is very expensive. So the way you organize floors and the way you move inside is really fundamental. So you can see the green area is all the technical and operation rooms, diagnostic and all the services for people. And then you can see in the top of the picture is the more public. So it's the main street with all services, access to the doctor, day hospitals, no? And all embracing the park. No? So it's the main street, 2 levels, and the lighting coming from the top. And we designed this really, you know, I think when you go in a hospital, you don't have a very good feeling, you know. Hospital is always, you're not going to be happy if you go in hospital. But I always say also, babies born in the hospital. So there are 2 different things. One is you go to cure, but the other one is the open, no? It's the babies. And the idea is to design a place when you feel comfortable, no? You don't feel hostile, no? It's not too technical. You need to, you know, welcome people in a different moment, you know, in difficult moment, no? So this is a section of the building. You can see this little square is the main street. So it just go all around the building. And that's the vision on the other side. So if you enter to the other side, the small building is dedicated to residential for families, go to see your parents, then you need a residential. Sometimes it's very difficult. But also education place, and is a little kindergarten for people who's working there. They need to bring their kids, and also always a difficult managing life and works. And I think the hospital idea is welcome patients, but also welcome people to go work on that space. And all the room look gardens. So if you're inside the room, it always looks this kind of step gardens. And then you see from the bottom part is the main entrance from the park. So if you go in a small detail, it's a big scale, a urban scale, then it's a scale of a building, then it's a detail, and the detail is quite very particular. That's one of the reasons why we want that competition. Typical rooms is this one, Then you enter, and then you don't see the patient. The patient is behind the toilet. And when you nursery walk in the night, they never saw the person inside the room, and the person inside the room, they never see the people watching from outside. So we tilt the room, but maintain the structure of the building orthogonal. So you can really see when you walk in, the people still see the people in the bed. It looks like a simple things, but in terms of managing 500 rooms, and then maybe there's a 1 or 2 person in the night walking around, they can really visually see. It's a completely different way to managing that hospitals. And then also the possibility to transform from 1 room to do 2 bedrooms, and also transforming in intensive care. Because one of the problems we had during the COVID, there was not enough intensive care rooms. So it's all prepared to be transformed in intensive care. So this gives you a space to adapting the hospital. Because one of the other problems is, in the 1980, 1990, the time of hospitalization was between 10 and 15 days. Today, medium is 2, maximum 3 days. So you don't need too many bedrooms because the turnovers are fast. And we go in the direction to reduce the number of bedrooms because it's go faster and faster the way you're curing people. And then you need an hospital able to adapting to this different kind of a function. And diagnostic is one of the major change in hospital, capacity to diagnostic and all digital things. So I think the design was made to adapting this shape of this arch to change position of things to adapting hospital in the future. And that is the scheme. And we just say there are 2 schemes, very simple. One is how much daylighting get inside of the room. Because a part of intensive care, we don't need too much because people are not awake normally. But people in these 3 days, how much daylighting get inside the room and what they see from the room. And that is the picture of what they see. From the room, they always 3 windows. You can see outside. You can close the windows, but also I think it's a part of the healing system is this relation of the park. I think is very, very important. And that is the final pictures. Thank you very much.